You already know what a plague doctor looks like: the long black coat, the white hat, the bird mask with the glass eyes and the long curved beak. It is one of the most famous images in history, and almost everything people believe about it is wrong. It has nothing to do with the Black Death. The outfit was invented about 300 years after that plague ended. The beak was not for show, and it was not a warning. It was a filter. It was built on an idea about disease that turned out to be completely wrong. And here's the strange part. The idea was wrong, and the mask worked anyway. This is what was really under it. When people picture the Black Death, they picture the beak. But the Black Death swept through Europe between 1347 and 1351. If you had walked through a city during those years, you would not have seen a single one of those masks. Nobody had invented them yet. Doctors in the 14th century wore what doctors always wore: long robes, a hood, sometimes a cloth held over the face. The mask belongs to a much later world, the plague outbreaks of the 1600s in cities like Rome, Naples, and Milan. By then, Europe had been living with the plague for 300 years. It never fully went away. Every few decades it came back, killed part of a city, and faded again. The beak mask was not an answer to the disaster everyone remembers. It was an answer to a problem that would not leave. The design is usually credited to a French doctor named Charles de Lorme, around 1619. He was the personal doctor to King Louis XIII. He treated royalty, which means he had every reason not to catch anything. His outfit covered the whole body, and he wrote down exactly how to make it. A coat covered in scented wax running from the neck to the ankles, leather trousers joined to the boots, a shirt tucked in, gloves, boots, and a hat, all made from the same waxed leather. Every surface was smooth and sealed, so nothing could soak into it, and the mask with its glass eyepieces and its long curved nose. He also carried a wooden cane. People often say it was for pushing patients away, and sometimes it was, but the everyday use was simpler. He could lift a blanket, move clothing, or point at something without even touching a sick person with his hands. Look at that list again. The whole body covered, a sealed surface, eyes protected, gloves, and a way to keep his distance. That is not a costume. That is a safety equipment. So why the beak? Because of an idea called miasma. For most of history, people believed that disease came from bad air. Not germs, nobody could see germs or even imagine them. They believed in poisoned air rising from swamps, from rotting waste, and from the bodies of the dead. If you could smell death, they thought you were breathing in the thing that killed you. So the beak was packed full: dried flowers, roses, and carnations, mint, camphor, cloves, myrrh, laudanum, a sponge soaked in vinegar. Some accounts list more than 50 different herbs. The doctor breathed in through 2 small holes at the tip, and the air had to pass through all of it first. That was the whole point of the length. It gave the air a long way to travel, and a lot of material to pass through before it reached him. They thought they were cleaning poisoned air. What they had actually built was a rough face mask packed with herbs, held out in front of the mouth. Here is the part that never makes it into the horror pictures. Plague doctors were usually hired by the city. They worked on a contract paid with public money, and their job was to treat the people nobody else would treat: the poor and anyone who could not pay for a doctor of their own. Many of them were not respected doctors at all. The good, well-connected ones tended to leave town when the plague arrived. The men who took these contracts were often poor doctors, or young men with no patients yet, or in some cases men with no medical training at all, hired because the job was empty and somebody had to do it. And the work went far beyond medicine. They counted the dead for the city. They signed wills as witnesses because a dying person needed a witness and everyone else had run. They cut open bodies to find out what had killed them. They told the city which houses to shut. The medicine itself was mostly useless and often made things worse. Draining people's blood, putting frogs or dried toads on the swellings, cutting the swellings open which spread the infection around the room and did nothing for the patient. And the doctors were shut away too. A plague doctor was treated as infected just for doing the job, and was often made to live apart from everyone else, including his own family. Many of them died doing it. Everybody who took the job knew that going in. So did any of it help? The medicine? No. Draining blood weakened people who needed all the strength they had. Cutting open the swellings was dangerous for everyone in the room. But the suit is a different question. The plague spreads mostly through the bites of infected fleas, and when it reaches the lungs, it spreads through the air in droplets. Now look at what the Lorme's design does, without meaning to. Wax leather from neck to ankle, smooth and sealed, is almost impossible for a flea to cling to. The gloves and boots leave no bare skin anywhere. The mask covers the face and holds a wall of packed herbs in front of the mouth and nose. And the cane keeps the doctor an arm's length away from the patient and the bedding. Every one of those choices was made to block bad air, and every one of them also happens to cut down contact with fleas and droplets. It is not a modern hazmat suit, and we should not pretend it was. There is no real evidence that plague doctors survived any more often than anyone else, and the mask sealed nothing. But the basic idea behind protective clothing, cover everything, use smooth surfaces, and put distance and a filter between yourself and the sick, was worked out 300 years before anyone knew germs existed. The right thing to do, or entirely the wrong reason. The mask outlasted the job. By the 1700s it had turned into a carnival costume in Venice, where it still shows up every year. From there it became a Halloween outfit, and then a symbol of medieval horror, which is the one thing it never was. It is worth remembering what it really was: a piece of equipment designed by a working doctor, worn by underpaid men who walked into the houses of everyone else had run from. Many of them never walked out again. Which leaves a question worth sitting with. How many of the things we laugh at as ignorance were really just someone doing their best with what they knew? The plague these men were fighting had already changed Europe once. But what if it had gone further and killed 90% of the continent? That video is on screen now. Welcome to Hollow Ages.